My dear students, really, I'm pleased to meet you again. Really, I missed you all and I wish I could see you soon. But we should cooperate together to overcome this epidemic that called COVID-19. I ask Allah to keep you all and your families. Second, we should thank our Minister of Education that does its best to provide us with e-learning through Microsoft Teams. Before starting, really I appreciate all your efforts and be sure you will get the highest marks. And I don't forget to encourage all my students to share and send me their answers. Let's start. Before our lesson is starting, we should have our virtual classroom agreement. First, please be on time for the class and never be late. Bring all your tools before starting the lesson and be attentive. You should be attention to the lesson carefully. Third, you should listen to your friends, respect them, and never interrupt. Keep your mic mute unless you want to participate. Raise hand and unmute it. Never open your camera during the lesson, please. Never leave the class without permission from your teacher. Keep in touch with your teacher through the edunet.ph if you need support. The last, you should achieve the tasks on time. Okay, now.
Second Intermediate, Upstream 2, Unit 1, First Semester. Dear students, this is our lesson, Round the Clock, 1B, Part 1, page 8. You need to have your mini board and a marker or a notebook and a pen.
Before starting, we have a secret code. I'll give you 2 minutes to break the secret code, please. We have some numbers and some shapes. And here are the letters. You can write down the secret code here and you will have something related to our title of the lesson, Round the Clock, page 8. Okay, you are doing well. Go ahead, my dear students. Now, let's go to have the model answer. What is the secret code? Here is the answer. Yes, very good. It's daily routine. We'll have a lesson today about our daily routine and daily activities. Okay, let's go to our objectives for today. We have 3 objectives. Listen.
At the end of this lesson, the student will be able to:
Number 1, identify vocabulary related to daily activities, routines, and chores. Number 2, students will be able to use the adverbs of frequency in sentences. And number 3, students will be able to write a short paragraph using the new vocabulary. First, Let's get started. Look at the title of the lesson, and here I'll give you our first page of the lesson, and look at the title here. Round the clock. And we'll have some vocabulary about our daily activities. We have three things here to know about: daily routine, free time activities, and the third one, chores. What are the differences between them? After looking at these daily activities and these pictures, of course, at the end of the lesson, we should write a short paragraph about our daily routine and daily activities. Okay, now, again, we have 5 pictures here. Look at the title, Round the Clock, and the pictures below. Guess what is the lesson about? Yeah, of course, good. I can hear all of you saying that these are some daily activities, daily routine we have to do every day. Someone here is sleeping, another is writing a homework, another person is getting up, and some boys are going to school using or by school bus, and the last one is a boy having breakfast.
Look at the title of the lesson and the pictures below. Guess, what is the lesson about?
Okay, you are right. The lesson is about daily activities, routines, and chores.
Let's look closer.
This lesson is about daily activities, routines, and chores. Daily activities are things we do every day.
Such as practice writing, watch TV, or have a bath. Again, if we look here, we have some routines like, do you get up? If I ask you, do you get up early on weekdays? Someone say, yes, I get up early on weekdays. Another says, I get up late on the weekend or on Friday. Do you have breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Do you catch the bus to school or to work? If I ask you, do you go to bed late? Of course, someone can answer saying, I go to bed early. I go to bed late every day. I can ask you another question using, do you do your homework every evening? Do you do your homework after school? Do you work out in the gym? These are the daily routines. But we have some other free time activities like reading the newspapers, magazines, or books, going to the zoo, listen to music, play sports, meet friends, watch DVDs, and go jogging. Again, our lesson: practice writing, watch TV, and have a bath. All these are daily activities we can do every day. Next, what are routines?
Routines are the normal order and way in which you regularly do things.
You do these activities or daily routines every day, regularly, like getting up early, having breakfast with your family, or going to school with your friends by bus. What about the chores? Chores are
Chores are tasks you have to do. They are often unpleasant but necessary.
note that these chores are unpleasant. We usually don't like to do these chores. Your mother, of course, can ask you to do the washing up, to do the shopping for her, or to take out the rubbish every day. But you should obey your mother, of course. If you don't like to do these chores, no, you should do it. You should do them for your mother daily. Although you don't like them. We have on page 8 some chores, some other chores like vacuum the floor. Do you vacuum the floor? Do you make the beds? Mow the lawn? Mow the lawn or grass? Walk the dog? Do you walk the dog every day? Do you take out the rubbish? Do you iron your clothes? Do the shopping? Do the washing up for your mom? And do you dust the furniture? These are some chores you don't like to do them sometimes. Okay, back to our lesson. What are our free activities? We said before.
Free time activities are activities that we do when we have free time.
Like listening to music, play sports, or go jogging. Now, let's go to task number 1. Let's practice.
Put the following activities under the suitable category on the right.
We have some activities here on the left side, like listening to music, go jogging, get up, do the washing up, take out the rubbish, play sports, do the shopping, practice writing, and have breakfast. We have some routines, free time activities, and chores. These are the categories or timetables. We should write here the activity, the activity in the right timetable. You have 5 minutes to do this, and you can write down on the chat. I'll follow your answers all. Okay, let's do them now. Put the activity in the right category, the right place here. Routines, free time activities, and chores. Try to classify every verb here in the right place. Let's start. We have 5 minutes. Now, can you check your answers here? Go ahead. Listening to music, is it a daily routine or free time activity or a chore? What about get up? Getting up. Can you put it in the daily routine or free time activities or chores? What about do the shopping or taking out the rubbish? We said before that, it's very easy. Yeah, I can hear someone saying it's a free time. No, it's not a free time activities, but it is a chore, a job my mom can ask you to do every day. Let's go to answers. Okay, finish. Number one, get up can be put on the daily routine, of course. Yeah, practice writing is a daily routine. The third one, you have breakfast with your family every day. This is a daily routine. What about free time activities? Listening to music. This is a hobby. You can do it during your free time. The second, play sports and go jogging or free time activities. What about chores here? Yes, number one, take out the rubbish, do the washing up is a model example. Yeah, and you can do the shopping for your mom. Okay, let's go to the next. If we want to talk about our daily routines and habits, we use the present simple tense. Of course, to talk about daily routine, you should have present simple in your writing.
If we want to talk about our daily routines and habits, we use the present simple tense.
What is the rule of the present simple tense? All of us have studied present simple tense before. Here, the third person singular, he, she, and it can be followed by the verb, then, like the model example, he gets up at 6 a.m. every day. What about plural? They, we, you, and I can be followed by the main verb, like the example, they catch the bus to school. They catch. And we will talk about this later. We put es to catch and becomes catches if we have he, she, or it at the beginning of the sentence instead of they. If we say he catches the bus to school. But we use they, we, you, catch. And I, of course, I catch the bus to school. The next. When we talk about our daily routines and habits, we usually use adverbs of frequency to show how often we regularly do the tasks or activities or how often something happens. Listen.
When we talk about our daily routines and habits, we usually use adverbs of frequency to show how often we regularly do the task or activities or how often something happens.
Okay, what are the adverbs of frequency? Always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, and never. All these are the adverbs of frequency in English. Of course, we have another word for instead of rarely, like seldom or scarcely. Here, we can express every adverb of frequency by using percentage. Here, number one, 100% means all times. It happens all the times. That the daily routine or habit is frequent all times. What about usually? It represents 80%. 80%. The third one often can represent a percentage of 60%. Sometimes represents 40%. And rarely is about 20%. The last one, never, that is used in negative form sentences, negative form to represent 0%. And this means it is not at any time. Now, look at this figure. This picture shows always here. And what does it mean? And the last one, never, means what?
Always means the action happens at all times, 100%, whereas never means the action does not happen at any time, 0%.
Again, always means the actions happens at all times. And as we said, it represents 100%. Whereas, while never, in the negative, means the action does not happen at any time. It means or represents 0%. Okay, now let's have an example and listen to this.
Adverbs of frequency are normally placed before the main verb, in other words, between the subject and main verb.
This is a model answer with a model example. He always walks to school. Notice here that always, the adverb of frequency, comes between the subject and the main verb. Walks is the main verb of the sentence, and to school is the rest of the sentence. Subject, adverb of frequency, main verb, and the last thing, the rest of the sentence, to school. Number one, subject, adverb of frequency, always. Walks is the main verb, and the last thing, to school, is the rest of the sentence. What about another example? Here is another example. I rarely do the shopping on Fridays. I'll ask you a question. Where is the subject here? You can write down on the chat. Yes, of course. You will say I. Okay. What about the adverb of frequency here? Who can point out and write down the adverb of frequency here on the chat? You can write down on the chat your answer here. I'll follow you. Yes, of course. Yeah, it's rarely. Rarely. What about the main verb of the sentence? The verb do. Good. And the rest of the sentence is shopping on Fridays. Let's have the answers. The subject here is I. The adverb of frequency is rarely. The main verb is do. and the shopping of the on Fridays is the rest of the sentence. Good. Let's go and remember that the adverb comes before the main verb. Okay? It is followed by the main verb here. Rarely do. It's wrong to say I do rarely the shopping. Okay? But it's correct to say I rarely do. I sometimes do. Not I do sometimes. Okay? I usually do. Not saying I do usually. No. The next. If we have verb to be, and if I ask you what is verb to be, do you know the forms of verb to be in present simple? Yes, you can say and write here on the chat verb to be, the forms of verb to be in present simple. Yeah, I can hear someone saying is, are, am and is for singular and are for plural. Okay, listen.
But with verb to be, adverbs of frequency are placed after the main verb.
For example, they are always happy. They are always happy. If I ask you, where is the subject here? Okay, good. You can say they. Okay. What about the main verb here? Someone will say it's are. Good. Are. And note that are is from verb to be. Okay. Can be followed by what? The adverb of frequency. When we ask what is the adverb of frequency here, you will say, of course, always. And the rest of the sentence is happy. Let's have the answers. The subject, they. The main verb here is verb to be. And the adverb of frequency is always. And the last thing is the adjective happy. This is the rest of the sentence. Yeah. Note and remember that verb to be is are plus the adverb after this. After this, we will have another task. But before going to our task, we have a quiz here, short quiz. How to describe I'll give you a quiz about round the clock, and I'll put the link after that or later on the edunet.ph to be answered. First of all, we have a self-assessment about what we have studied on the objective number one. Number one, listen to this. Could you please?
One, could you please? The long. 2 points. Iron. Mow. Make. End of question. Close the reader to input your answer.
I want your answer here, please. Could you please iron, mow, make the lawn? Okay. You can write down on the chat now, and I'll give you the link later to be done as a self-assessment. Number 2, Paul, could you make your bed, please? Listen.
2. Paul, could you your bed, please? 2 points. Do. Take. Make. End of.
Number 3. Okay, you can write down your answer. Paul, could you do your bed? Take your bed. Make your bed, please. Number 3.
3. Mom. The carpets every day. 2 points. Dusts. Vacuums. Do. End of question. Close the reader to input your answer.
Put your answer now. Mom dusts the carpets. Mom space vacuums. Do the carpets every day. Number 4.
4. Do you often your relatives? 2 points. Go. Catch. Visit. End of question. Close the reader to input your answer.
Okay. Do you often go, catch, visit your relatives? Okay, you can write down the answer and I correct it for them, for you all. Now the last sentence. Listen.
5. They often camping in the summer. 2 points. Play. Go. Mow. End of question. Close the reader to input your answer.
Okay, my dear students, they often play, go, mow, camping in the summer. You can put your answer, and after the lesson, we will have the link here and in the edunet.bh. Okay. Now let's go to task number 2. Let's practice. Write 5 sentences about your daily activities. Remember to use adverbs of frequency. You have 10 minutes to write 5 sentences about your daily activities using the adverbs of frequency, of course. Okay. Let me see your answers. You should participate and take part in on the chat, writing your answers. Okay, you have 10 minutes. Let's start. We can go to our main page, page 8. We can use some activities here from free time activities or routines, and we can also use some chores you have to do for your mom. Okay. Right. In front of you, I'll put this to use some of them in your writing. It's very important at the end of the lesson to write a short paragraph, as we said. The third objective for us today is to write a short paragraph, 5 or 6 sentences about daily routine or daily activities. You just have 4 minutes to do this job and to write down 5 sentences using the routines, activities, free time activities, or chores. You still have 2 minutes to finish this task, and I'll check your answers, giving you a model answer. You are doing well. If you have any questions, my dear students, you can write down on the edu.ph, and I'll answer all your questions. Okay, now let's go back and give you some model answers.
Write 5 sentences about your daily activities. Remember to use adverbs of frequency.
Okay, here are some suggested sentences. Number 1, I rarely vacuum the floor. Notice that rarely, the adverb of frequency, comes between the subject I and the main verb vacuum. Number 2, I often listen to music when I do the washing up. I usually make my bed. I never play sports. Note here that never is between I and play. I, the subject, play, the main verb, and the adverb of frequency is never. Of course, sports is the rest of the sentence. The last one, I sometimes watch DVDs on Fridays. Okay? Let's go to task number 3. You are doing well, and I'm sure you will have great benefit from your sharing and participation with me. This is an assessment. In your notebook, write a short paragraph describing your daily activities, routines, chores, and free time using adverbs of frequency. You can use your notebook and write a short paragraph from 5 or 6 sentences describing your daily routine. Of course, it's very easy, and I'm sure you will do it. Now,
In your notebook, write a short paragraph describing your daily activities, routine, chores, and free time using adverbs of frequency.
okay, put a tick if you followed the criteria. We have a criteria, we have some rules. to write a short paragraph correctly. To write correctly, you should follow these steps. What are the rules of writing? Right, we have this schedule. You can put a self-assessment yourself. If you write about all the points wanted or required to write, you have a tick here. If you use the correct tense, using, of course, present simple to describe daily routine or free time activities, you should use the correct tense. Not using present simple, then past simple, then future. The third one, the third step, I spell correctly. And of course, from my mistake, I write correctly after this. I learn from my mistake. I should learn. Don't be afraid. Don't worry to make spelling mistakes at first. But by practicing and training, you will spell correctly and you will write correctly. Don't worry to make mistakes. From my mistakes, I learn. This is very important to know. The fourth one, or the fourth step in writing, you should punctuate well. What is punctuation? Punctuate is using full stops, commas, full stops at the end of the sentence. Don't forget to put a full stop at the end of the sentence using commas in lists, for example. And don't forget to use capital letters. Use capitals at the beginning of the sentence. Every sentence should begin with capital letter. If you have 5 ticks here, you will have the highest mark in writing any paragraph. Okay? This is a suggested answer. Okay, but first, before seeing the suggested answer, I'll give you about 10 minutes to write a short paragraph describing your daily activities or routines and free time activities using adverbs of frequency. Before ending our lesson, I'll give you enough time to write this short paragraph, and I'll come back and follow all your answers. Let's have a start. Yes, start now. Don't forget to use these rules during writing. While writing, write about all the points. Use the correct tense using the adverb of frequency, usually, sometimes, always, rarely, never, between the verb and the main verb. Between the subject and the main verb. And don't forget to spell the words correctly. Try to make few mistakes in writing. You can revise all the time. You can check your answer and check your spelling mistakes using a dictionary. Don't forget to use full stops at the end of the sentence, using commas in lists of free time activities or daily routines. If you have more daily routines in one sentence, you should use commas between these daily routines. And last thing, you should use capital letter at the end, at the beginning of the sentence. Yes, you still have 2 minutes to check your answer and give you a model answer. Now, let's have a model answer to a short paragraph. Yeah, here is a suggested answer. I usually get up at 6 a.m. on weekdays. Note that you should have a note here. Usually, the adverb of frequency is used between the subject I and the main verb get up. At 6 a.m. on weekdays, this is the rest of the sentence. The most important thing to know that usually, always, often is used or are used between the subject and the main verb. Okay, let's read this for you. I usually get up at 6 a.m. on weekdays. I always wash my face and brush my teeth. You can use some connectors like first, next, then, after that, between these sentences. Next, I often have my breakfast at 6:30 a.m. I always catch the bus to school. I am rarely late for school. When I get back home, I sometimes do the washing up. While on Fridays, I never do the shopping, but I always play sports. Moreover, I often listen to music or watch some movies. Okay, this is a model answer, and you can write down any model answers you can write down and send them to me to be corrected later. Of course, I'll put the link at the end of the lesson and on your edunet.ph to be answered. Thank you for your listening, and I hope you good luck until we meet again. Goodbye.